Did Uncle Shay Shay just serve Jim Jones a verbal eviction notice from hip-hop history on live stream? Because what went down on Club Shay Shay wasn't just spicy. It was a full-on cultural mugging in HD. One moment there, talking rap legends. Next. You know, Shannon Sharpe turns into Suge Knight with a southern draw and straight up annihilates Jim Jones with a line so disrespectful it might have aged Cayman's Wool catalog by a decade. You're not even in NAS top 10. My boy, boom, not even top 10. Y'all. Not top 5, not honorable mentioned. Not even runner-up in a Dipset talent show and the internet. It collapsed faster than Jim Jones trying to freestyle outside. Not 97, but here's the twist. This wasn't just a diss, this was a pop culture autopsy. A Hall of Fame tight end just dissected a rapper's entire career with one sentence. And Jim Bro walked into it like it was karaoke night at a Harlem fish fry. So, what triggered this lyrical execution? Why did Shannon Goffle battle rap on a Tuesday morning? Buckle up because this mess, it's deeper, dumber, and way more disrespectful than you think. So, picture this. Shannon, sharp, fresh suit, glasses shining, sitting at Club Shay Shay like it's the courtroom of hip-hop judgment. And with one single line, this man didn't just spill tea, had poured gasoline on a Harlem bonfire. Jim Jones, he's not even in NAS top. Boom, that's it, that's the tweet, that's the mic drop. That's the moment Jimmy's rap credibility got tossed in a blender set to liquefy and served cold across every social media timeline in country and brewer. It wasn't even a diss track, it was just facts. Facts dressed in a Sunday suit, sipping brown liqueur. Quoting Illmatic, because what Shannon Sharpe did wasn't commentary. It was surgical dismantling with the precision of a man who's been sitting on this truth for way too long. And here's the plot twist nobody saw coming. Shannon Sharpe, the former tight end, the LeBron defender, the morning talk show veteran, just embarrassed a Wool Dipset affiliate with the energy of a battle rapper from 1998. And Twitter. Oh, Twitter combusted. Bro got tickled by a football players. Opinion. Jim out here catching LS from Club Shay like it's hot 97. The memes didn't stop for 48 hours. But hold up, let's not act like Jim Jones didn't have this coming. This wasn't random. This wasn't spontaneous, this was karma with a Bluetooth mic. See, Jim Jones been playing a dangerous game for years, poking at Nas, subweeding NAS, dismissing Nas like he was some conscious rapper. Your uncle listens to Heil barbecuing in socks and sandals. Let's rewind the receipts. Remember back in 2022, Jim sat down in that now infamous interview and had the audacity, the gall to say NAS ain't relevant to the youth anymore. Ain't nobody bumping this in the streets, huh? Who told him this? What youth TikTok kids who never heard one? Mike, that quote alone was like pouring maple syrup on a power line. Hip-hop heads everywhere were shook, but Jimmy wasn't done. He doubled down. Like he was playing blackjack with this legacy. He nice. But let's be honest, he ain't got no bang ears. Y'all ain't hearing NAS in the club. And right there, Jim Jones officially entered that shit as that one rapper who always says wild stuff for retweets. Bro, it's 2:05, nobody's playing We Fly High in the club either, unless it's throwback Thursday and someone found a sidekick in the DJ BOOTH. So when Shannon Sharpe dropped the hammer on Club Shay Shay, it wasn't out of pocket, it was long overdue. That's when it became clear Shannon wasn't just speaking his truth. He was speaking for every rap fan who's watched Jimmy try to wiggle his way into GOAT convos without ever dropping a classic album, because let's keep it a buck, Jimmy got some moments. Belong was a banger, he dressed like a Harlem fashion god in 2006. He inspired some pink fits and brought attitude to the mic. Cool, but NAS raised a generation with words. NAS wrote Illmatic at 19, NAS WPPED about the system, about the struggle, about the entire black experience, and he did it while half the industry was still learning how to hold a pen. And this is who Jim wants smoke with. Please, now back to Shannon. Come on with a mic and zero chill. when Hess said he's not even in NAS top 10, it wasn't just shade. It was a straight-up funeral service. You know what happened next, right? The internet caught fire, barbershops paused mid-haircut, podcasters dropped emergency live streams. And on Reddit, holy dissertations were posted under threads like Jim Jones, The Audacity Chronicles. Fans started asking real questions. Does Jim killing Harlem in every verse accounts as lyrical depth? What's the last Jim Jones verse that made anyone feel anything besides nostalgia? Walethi memes raged. Guess who said absolutely nothing? NAS. Yep. The man at center of this digital hurricane stayed silent. Not a tweet, not an X story, not even a cryptic quote post, just silence. And that made everything worse for Jim because silence from a legend. That's the most savage response of all. That's a you're not even worth me breath kind. A flex, but Jimmy didn't take the hint. He went live, yep, because that always works out so well. Cigar in one hand, dips at memorabilia in the background. Looked into the camera and tried to clap back. Man, Shannon Sharpe don't know nothing about hip-hop. He a football dude, has hold stay in his lane. But Brewer, when you have to explain your legacy on IG Live, you already lost. Fans wearying him alive in the comments. You ran it even top 3 and dips up respectfully. Jim fights now ain't even showing. Trying to relevance with Eamon, who literally won a Grammy during a pandemic, and it kept spiraling. Fake headlines started dropping like mixtapz. Jim Jones claps back at Shannon, says nasn't go to Club Bank. Shannon Sharpe ends Jim Jones' career while wearing a suit. Nazis choose silent. Twitter declares that a W even Benzino slid in from whatever corner of the internet he had destined and said Shannon said what we all been thinking. Benzino, yes, Benzino, the man who once ran the source like it was a family. BBQ now inserting himself into this like a DJ, no one invited. At this point, Jimmy's credibility was doing backflips off a Harlem rooftop and landing face first in a meme folder. But here's where it really got wild. As Jimmy kept talking, the fans kept digging old interviews. Wild takes, forgotten freaks does anything they could find to prove once and for all Jim's rapper zoo duty match. Be confident, the confident. Someone even tweeted Jim Jones is what happens when confidence doesn't come with a discography. Ouch! And Shannon, he sat back, watched the timeline, eat Jimmy live, didn't post, didn't react, didn't engage, just chilled. Like a retired king watching a jester juggle insults in the courtyard. That, my friends, is where we leave off because this is just beginning of a spiraling disaster. So just when you thought this whole thing might cool off, maybe fade away like a Dipset mixtape in 2011. Boom, the internet said, nah, we just warming up because Jim Jones not online refused to log off. He practicalibaged the timeline to finish what Shannon started. And the timeline, I accepted the challenge like it was auditioning for a Netflix docu-series called The Murder of a Rap Reputation, the Jimmy tapes. Let's start with the fake leaks. First up, the leaked text messages between Shannon Sharpe and NAS. Yep, a now viral screenshot made its rounds, allegedly showing NAS texting Shannon. He's not even worth 16 bars. It gave him more with silence than he gave hip-hop his whole career. The sender saved in Shannon's phone as Escobar. Bro, come on. Fake, obviously, but did it matter? Not one bit. Twitter ran with it like it was the Dead Sea Scrolls. One tweet said, if NAS really sent that, Jimmy better turn off the Wi-Fi and pray. Another Escobar ain't writing bars. He writing obituaries now, and then came the fake voice note. Yep, Soma Genius took AI tech, slapped in voice on a grainy audio file and made it say Jimmy wants a reaction. I want peace and that's why I win. I let my silence echo louder than his noise. Clearly robotic, clearly stitched together from 6 different audiobook samples. But again, the internet did not care. TikTok made a trend. People were playing the fake in his audio over skits of them throwing out pink bandanas, Dipsetsy Dis, and Harlem Globetrotter jerseys. The viral sound was literally titled NAS Aislin's Pack, And then the memes. Oh, the memes. One had Jim Jones holding a mic that slowly morphed into a white flag. Another NAS sitting on a throne sipping wine while Shannon Sharpe stands next to him like Royal Guard. A third, a Dipset logo placed in a museum glass case with the caption archived repair last relevant in 2007. Bro, Findernet had no mercy. Then came the imaginary collabs. You ready for this? Because a fake versus flyer went viral showing NAS versus Shannon Sharpe. I repeat, not NAS versus Jim, not even Nas versus J. NAS v Shannon Sharpe. The poster iconic NAS and Ob Shannon in Adirek and a tailored suit. Tagline Bars versus Brains, silence hits harder than runs. Even celebrities jumped in on that cows. Timberlane, yes, the actual producer liked the post showing Jim Jones as the before photo in a rap career guide and NAS as the after, and then DJ Academics. Showed up because of course he did. He hopped on Twitch, shook his head for 3 minutes straight, and then said, Jim picked a fight with a ghost. NAS is a museum piece. You didn't beef with museums. You visit them and take notes. Then added, this man Shannon said one line and buried a Hully mixtape catalog. That's power. Meanwhile, Jim Jones still on IG Live, still talking. Now he's in a studio, cigar in hand, Dipset logo behind him like it's a presidential address. And Hessies, they trying to play me like he ain't a legend. I shifted the culture and made pink fashionable. I walked Soothers Could Fly and the comment section. Digital Firing Squad, Broily said he invented the color pink. We talk in bars, not outfits. Jimmy Nasmith, it was written, you made we fly high. Let's not confuse Nike with Payless. Then came the final insult, a fake press conference. Yep, Summy and Green screened a whole setup with an actor impersonating Jim Jones, standing behind a podium and saying, I'd like to formally apologize to NAS, the hip-hop community, and the ancestors. The lyricism for my recent statements, it had laugh tracks, it had slow zooms, it had funeral music playing in the background, and it went viral. But wait, there's more. A fake DJ Clue Leak claimed Jimmy Tree to reach out to NAS privately and got left unread. Another fake industry leak claimed Def Jam quietly put a pause in Dipset reissue plans, allegedly saying, we don't want to be associated with beef that feels like yelling at a statue. Bro, not yelling at a statue, but perhaps the worst humiliation of all, no one from Dipset showed up to defend him. Come on, silent, Joel Santana nowhere to be found. Even Freaky Zake was like, don't look at me, bro, a fake statement from Dipset's PR team started circulating too, saying, Dipset supports hip-hop history and legacy. All personal comments made Aaron not representative of the group as a whole. Bad had Twitter saying, Dipset just filed for lyrical divorce, but Jimmy kept fighting. He dropped a tweet that read, y'all can clown, but I'm still a staple in this game, Harlem forever, and someone responded, staple, bro? You the paperclip Nas didn't ask for, another Jim been in the game for 20 years and still asking to be included. Like it's the lunch table. But coup de grace the fake NAS red carpet mint. Deepfake clip appeared showing NAS walking past a reporter hosts. Any words for Jim Jones? Nas smiles, pauses, then says, who, and walks away, fake but flawless. One fan quote tweeted it with, that who hither than ether. At this point, Jim Jones wasn't battling NAS. He was battling AI memes, deepfake audio, imaginary group chats, and Shannon Sharpe. Sipping tea like the gossip godfather of rap commentary. Even Shannon returned on a new episode of Club Shay and said, look, I don't dislike Jim, I just think we confuse volume with value. Some folks scream their legacy, others just live it, boom, subtle, deadly, zero effort, so now Thundernet declared. Winner, but not before one final twist. By now, Jim Jones wasn't just trending, he had become the main character. In a cultural cautionary tale, the memes were relentless. The silence from NAS was deafening and Dipsing and Dips, yeah, they basically ghosted him too. Let's pick up right where Park to left off, that deep fake clip of NAS saying who to a reporter. That alone sparked a new wave of humiliation. TikTokers started using the fake audio and skits where they delete Jim Jones from their playlists like, "He was malware," one of most viral trends. A guy lighting a Dipset bandana on fire, slowly walking away as a slow-in remix of Ether play Eid in the background. Caption, "When you realize Jim ain't top 10 in Nas Nightmares, let alone his list." It was brutal, but somehow things got worse. A fake YouTube podcast titled Jim's Last Live Drop thumbnail showed him holding a Dipset chain like it was a participation trophy. The host guy in an ass hoodie opened with, "Today, we mourn the rap credibility of Jim Jones taken from us not by diss tracks, but by one sentence and a typing tight in comments ballin' age like milk and Julie can't spell Dipset without the eldest funeral." Got a better guest list than Jimmy's last concert. And just when y'all thought we reached peak disrespect, that upset breakup rumor hit. Fake blog posts started circulating with the headline, "Cameron and Wells distancing themselves from Jim after NAS fiasco." Was it true? Nah, but the blog had fake Akeeman quotes like, "I respect Jimmy, but two can't come for NAS and not expect consequences. You diss gods, you get ghosts." People believed it, and Twitter lost its collective mind. One user said, "First the bandanas disappeared, now the brothers, too." Another posted a screenshot from an old Dipset video of Kim looking at Jim and wrote, "That was the moment he knew. This man gonna ruin everything." Meanwhile, Jimmy had robbed another lie. This time from a rooftop, city lights in the background, yelling into the mic like he was accepting an imaginary bet. A word Firmos talked about without dropping anything. He ranted, "Y'all talking about legacy like I ain't been Harlem. I've been culture. I've been fashion and the chat. Bro, you've been delusional. We token rap, not runways." NAS won with silence, and this man still monologuing. And then came Shannon's final shot. On a new episode of Club Shay, Shannon leaned in, looked into the camera, and said, "I didn't say Jimmy wasn't talented. I just said he ain'tness." He paused, sipped his drink, and continued, "Nas crafts legacy with apin. Some folks craft noise with outfits. That's the difference between being heard and being remembered." That soundbite instant viral clips with dramatic piano music edits with Jim fading into black and white. Instagram reels titled Shannon Sharp, the man who ended a rap career between commercial breaks. Then the fake sponsorship start. Yes, this saga had fake brands. Viral AI ad showed Ness and Shannon standing back-to-back in a Nike campaign with the slogan, "Real recognize real." Legacy doesn't shout. I techos another fake ad. Cologne, yep. A mock cologne box titled Ether by NAS, The Scent of Silence, and, right beside it, a parody bottle labeled Mid-Tier by Jimmy. The fragrance of forgotten bars, merch followed. People were printing shirts that said, "You're not even in his top 10. Shannon X Silence Aqualsco." Jimmy Talk NAS won, then came the Spotify memes. A fake screenshot went viral showing Jim Jones' month listeners dropping 63%. With a banner saying, "Algorithmically guarded," one user tweeted, "Sodify said, we don't even belong no more," and at this point, the music industry started fake distancing itself too. Fake tweets from A and our pages claimed, "We pulled 3 beats from Jimmy's next tape. Silence got better flow." One fake leak even showed a producer demming Nas. "Thanks for showing us how to win without rapping." And guess who popped back up? Yep. Benzino. Again, the ghost of outdate beats re-emerged on Instagram to post this. "Why you don't come for legends? Shannon just said what the streets been whispering for years." Then the Shannon X and NASA collab rumors hit no trail obviously, but that didn't stop fans from posting fake flyers showing Sharp penetration. The NAS X Shannon's spoken word tape tracklist top 10. You are not suit and silence bars of a tightened comments. This tape drops, Jimmy got to move to another genre. Rap ain't safe anymore. We got NFL players out bearing MC, but it wasn't just fake music. Someone made a deep fake video of Shannon and NAS in the studio with fake audio saying, "Legacy talks." Noise walks, even more edits followed like a Fake versus trailer where Jim never shows up and NAS just stands in silence while fans cheer. And still no response from NAS. That silence more powerful than a diss track, more lethal than either, more devastating than takeover, because here's the truth. NAS didn't even flinch, and that is what crushed Jimmy. It wasn't Shannon's line, it wasn't the memes. It wasn't even the fake leaks, it was the fact that the Monjin tried to provoke didn't say a word, and that silence echoed louder than any Balin can't ever could. So where does it leave Jimmy? Let's break it down. Clowned by Shannon Sharp, ignored business, membed by his crew, mocked by fake brands, and remembered not for bars, but for begging to be top 10 in a list that didn't even include him. This wasn't just a bad week, this was a full-blown rap reputation demolition led by a formernful tight end with a podcast mic and a clean suit. The irony, Shannon never dropped a track, never picked up a pen, never touched a mic in the booth. And still, he delivered one of the coldest disses in hip-hop history by accident. Let that sink in, but now we get to wrap this up properly. Because what happened here wasn't just commentary, it wasn't beef, it wasn't even drama. It was a cultural reset. Sano, it's time for the final blow. So after all the smoke, the fake deepfakes, the imaginary collabs, and the internet dragging Jim like an old mixtape no one asked for, we got to ask, was this the most embarrassing moment in modern rap beef history? Like, seriously, we've seen careers. And with a diss track, we've seen reputations crumble from leaked footage. But this was a man getting absolutely vacated by silence. No beats, no verse, just one tight and sipping teen casually declaring, "You're not even in NAS top 10. That's all it took. And suddenly Jim Jones went from we fly high to we crash fast. So now we want to hear from you. Is Jim finished in the court of hip-hop credibility? Can he ever bounce back from this avalanche of memes, mockery, and digital disrespect, or has he officially demoted to background character in the Dipet documentary? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Roast away, defend if you dare, and let's settle this in the messiest way possible. And if you've made it this far, you're clearly as addicted to chaos as we are. So do the right thing, smash that like button harder than Shannon smashed Jimmy's reputation. Subscribe before Jim goes live again because you know it's coming. And slap that notification bell like it owes you an apology for bringing the lid back into your head, because this channel, we don't just bring the smoke, we invent it. Stay tuned. Stay messy. And remember, in a world full of noise, silence is the deadliest disc, and Jim, he just got buried by it.